Hey everyone, this is Matt from endsickness.org. Today I'm going to be talking about how EMF sensitivity or electromagnetic sensitivity, sensitivity to wireless, Bluetooth devices, cell phones, things like that, how that is always linked to mycotoxin exposure, chronic mycotoxin exposure. So before I go into this, let me first say I'm not a medical doctor. This is not medical advice. This is based on my personal experience, things I've gone through, and experiences with my daughter, my clients, etc. So I know a lot of people out there, they have electrohypersensitivity, EMF. One of my very good friends and clients went through it on a huge scale. And what I realized after experiencing this with this client and many others actually is that when you have EMF sensitivity, there's always some type of mold hypersensitivity and brain limbic system activation, right? At the time when I first discovered this, it was in my daughter when she was extremely reactive to mold and she was flaring up and having seizures and all these things. And I would give her the cell phone when I needed to have some time as a single dad. And I'd say, here, you could watch my phone. You could watch something on there as I do something. Within 30, 40 minutes, her whole face would be lit up. Her face would turn red and her eyes would even go black and her attention span would go for at least 45 minutes until she came back to reality. And I realized, hey, there's something happening with that phone. That's not good. And I also realized when I would hold the phone for 3, 4 hours throughout the day, I'm doing things on the phone, etc. I'd start to get shooting pains down my arm. I started to kind of realize, okay, there's something to this EMF thing. I looked further into it, and obviously there is effect on the immune system. It increases the speed of oxidation of the cells. It increases calcium influx into the cells, which creates more hyperreactivity, activates the mast cells, increases inflammation when there's prolonged exposure. As much as 40, 50 minutes exposure can cause noticeable differences in studies they've shown. So EMF and electrohypersensitivity is a very real thing. There's no question about that. But the real question is, why would someone have it at such a stronger scale or be so much more sensitive than the other person? And the answer comes back to mold, okay? And when you have sensitivities like that you're reacting to, various foods, you're reacting to supplements, you're reacting to EMF, you're reacting to smells, all these things, it always comes back to mycotoxin hypersensitivity. And to explain, this means that wherever you're living, there are mycotoxins in your home that are aggravating your immune system on a grand scale, and that's making you hypersensitive to everything. And it's basically sabotaging your immune function and making you hyperreactive and putting you into an autoimmune state where you react to things you shouldn't. And, by the time you're reacting to EMF, you're usually reacting to foods, you're usually reacting, to various other things as well. But the good thing to take away from this video is, hey, listen, EMF sensitivity is not something that is forever. It is something that you can beat. You have to realize that the correlation is the mycotoxins, the mold. Once you get out of the mycotoxin saturated environment, you get into a place that's newer, you get more outdoor time, at that point, within a matter of months, your EMF sensitivity will be barely noticeable, if anything. That's what I experienced myself, saw my daughter, starting to see another client that just has got out of an environment, was triggering them. And I've seen the correlation between when the illness is at its worst and the mold sensitivity is high and the neurological system is highly activated and they're in a state of fight or flight, then the EMF sensitivity is present. But when it isn't, and the body is, calm, they're in an environment that's safe, they're eating the right foods, etc., this is not something that typically presents itself as an irritant. So I do want to make clear, I do believe in EMF and electrohypersensitivity, and it's something that needs to be managed, and exposure needs to be managed, especially in children. But I also want to say that if you're really struggling with EMF sensitivity or hypersensitivity to electronic devices, then you absolutely need to be looking into mycotoxins. And the way to be able to identify, number one, to be able to see, am I having a mycotoxin issue or not, is to get a mymycolab.com test. They got a lab test on there that will test your immunoglobulin levels to all the different mycotoxins and show your IgG, which is your past exposure to mold, and your current exposure, which is your IgE, which would be your current exposure to mycotoxins. And that will show you right there if you have a significant issue. And if that is a significant issue, then great news. Your EMF sensitivity could be something that you can overcome, along with probably various other symptoms that have come along with this mold exposure, this mycotoxin sensitivity. So I just want to point out, this is all solvable, this is fixable, and I've seen it. And I want to emphasize that mycotoxins are a much bigger issue than people give them credit for. This is happening almost it's on epidemic proportions. It's all over the place. People who have autoimmune diseases, almost all of them have environmental sensitivities. You know, they're eating the wrong foods or reacting to the foods because of the environmental sensitivities. It's really off the map. So do not discount mycotoxins if you're dealing with EMF sensitivity. There's always a link, and it's the underlying root cause of it. And if you really want to get over these things like, you know, EMF sensitivity, multiple chemical sensitivity, these histamine intolerance, these other things, you have to address the mycotoxins 100%. So thanks for watching, everybody. I got plenty more videos out here in nature. I'm going to be teaching you how to heal yourself all outdoors in nature, and it's going to be excellent. Go to my website, endsickness.org. I got hundreds of videos on there. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you again in the future.